Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of Unhinged. And yes, I actually did see this in the theater. Now, before I actually go into the review itself, I do want to state this. I use this movie as kind of a litmus test to see whether or not my theaters inside of my town were prepared for, COVID and everything else. I intentionally went at a time I knew when people weren't going to be there. There's only like maybe 3 or 4 of the people inside the entire theater that day. And I paid very, very close attention to whether or not they had barriers up, whether or not they were using gloves, whether or not they were, doing pretty much everything that is told by companies to do since all of this started. I was even making sure that the theaters themselves were actually clean. Did I see any popcorn on the floor? Did I see any soda stains? I was paying very extra attention to all of this. And tentatively, I can say that in St. George, at the very least, the theaters are okay and prepared. Whether or not that'll hold true when bigger movie releases come, like Tenet or Wonder Woman or anything like that, that remains to be seen. So just know that if things do change, I stopped going to the theaters, period. Just FYI. But I am glad that they were up to task for this movie because Unhinged was genuinely a breath of fresh air in a sea of mediocrity. While I haven't reviewed a lot of the stuff that's been coming out, like on Netflix or on Disney Plus or all these other drops they're doing, I have been paying attention to a lot of it, and personally, a lot of it just comes off as half-baked and unfinished. There's a reason it's coming out on streaming services like this, and it's mostly because they wouldn't do very well if they came out in theaters or direct to DVD. That's not to say that all the things that have come out are bad, but I will say that it was genuinely refreshing to see a movie this good during a time when it feels we're not getting anything good at all. This film is scary, and not in the, blood, gore, supernatural elements type thing. No, this is scary in that this could actually happen to a degree. It is very, very realistic. It's one guy off his rocker doing a lot of bad shit. And yes, there's movie conveniences that go along with it. But Russell Crowe delivers his A game here. He is not walking through this, and he is by far the most entertaining thing in this movie. Every second he's on screen, or just when he's talking on the phone, you are glued to this situation. That's not to say this movie is perfect, though. It is a little tropey when you get down to it, and there are a lot of movie conveniences. However, I can't say that any of them bothered me. This is not trying to reinvent the wheel, it's just trying to make a damn good wheel, and you can tell that everybody was doing their best to make sure this wheel rolls. And that's it for the non-spoiler section. From here on out, I'm going to just talk about things that are good and bad, rapid fire, and potentially spoil everything. So you've been warned. I gotta say, one of the best things inside of this movie, is bar none, is the opening sequence inside of it. Just Russell Crowe sitting in his car, doing all the things to kind of gear himself up for some of the most horrible things he's about to do, probably in his life. Russell Crowe is just sitting there in his car. He's just kind of rapping his knuckles, looking at the house. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? He reaches into that glove box, pulls out his pills. He's getting ready. He takes them, gets out of the car in the rain, goes to the back of his truck, pulls something out. He's fiddling with something back there. Can't see it, obscured. And all you see is just him marching towards this door. And he's got himself a hammer. And he's got a thing of gasoline. And with that, he busts down the door. Beats the people who come at him. Kills them. Burns the house down. And blows it up. And what genuinely makes this scene so terrifying and work is that they never try to do any of the movie-esque bullshit. It's not like he's getting stabbed or something. He's not like he's getting thrown around or taking punch after punch. No. When he gets in there and he starts getting on these guys, it's pretty clear he's put them down for the count. It's very, very realistic. He hit them right where he needed to with the hammer to make sure that they did not get back up. It's very clear that Russell Crowe is not superhuman. He's just a man who does not give a fuck anymore. Also, I would just like to point out how good Karen Petrush, I think her name is. I'll put her down here in case I said that wrong. How good she was inside the film. Because when you get right down to it, while Russell Crowe is a great antagonist, it wouldn't really work as a film if the protagonist wasn't also good, and she is extremely relatable inside of this. The film does a very, very good job of showing just how horrible the situation Karen's character, Rachel, is actually in. She is having the worst day of her life after months, maybe even a year, of just shit going wrong. She's going through a divorce. She gets a call early in the morning saying that her husband's trying to take the house now. She just lost her business. She woke up late and her kid's going to be late for the umpteenth time because traffic sucks in LA. On the way, she loses her best client that she has when she's strapped for cash as it is. This is a person who is having everything thrown at them. We have all had a day like this. So when a random truck in the road is not moving in the middle of a green light in a traffic jam, that kind of thing sets you off. You just did it to the wrong person today. And that's pretty much the setup of the whole movie, is that because she honked at him and cut him off, he now just wants to kill. He doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's already on the run from the cops. He is literally just walking around in this whole movie in the same clothes that are covered in blood from the wife and her presumed boyfriend that he just murdered. At a few points in this movie, Rachel will actively threaten this guy by saying, "I'm calling the cops. They already know that you're there." And he's like, "Go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. Suicide by cop sounds good to me." And the movie just ramps this tension up, especially after he starts going through her phone and pointing out all the contacts, all of their addresses. The movie ramps it on more and more. And there are several sequences where I'm just sitting there white-knuckling my seat in the middle of a chase scene involving a fucking station wagon. This movie knows how to get you invested in what's going on. But there are a couple of problems, and the big one shows that this plot is nothing new. Every year, there seems like there's a movie or two that tries to do this crazy guy who's just stalking this one person and ruining their life. Sometimes it works, like the Bad Samaritan over here. I don't know if you can actually read the title on that one, or if it's even in frame. But for every one that works like that, there's 3 more that don't. Most of them are romance thrillers where it's got the evil ex going after them. These plots are extremely similar to what's happening here. It feels very tropey, like a Lifetime movie. Granted, this movie has a lot more balls than those movies and shows active car crashes and bodies basically exploding when they get run over. This movie earns its R. But I can't help but feel that because I've seen this so many times, that this movie wouldn't have, been better with just one more rewrite to at least shake things up. In particular, this movie does fall into a couple of the traps of people make some stupid decisions at the beginning of the film. And no, I'm not including the whole, honking / cutting off this guy in the middle of traffic. Because, you know what? That was the inciting incident. And frankly speaking, she's already having a bad day. But no, I'm talking about some characters being a little bit too stupid. There's an amazing scene in a diner with Russell Crowe and one of the friends of the protagonist inside of this. It is an amazing scene, but the entire time I could not help but feel that this guy was acting a little too stupid. Like he's supposed to be this woman's best friend and acting lawyer, but because this guy comes down and says, "Hey, I'm her old friend. She said she wanted me to apologize and then I'm gonna just wait here with you until she gets here." That's okay for you to start talking about details of her very messy divorce? What? And how did you not pick up on the terror in her voice when he finally gets a hold of her? It's not the only time it happens either. There's a scene in a gas station just earlier inside of this when they have a chance to call the cops, and one character actually even suggests that they call the cops. But another guy kind of jumps in the way and says, no, that's only going to make things a little bit worse. Look, he's just trying to scare you. I'll go and block him off. You get the hell out of here. If he comes after you again, I'll grab his license plate, call the cops, and tell him which way you headed. Okay, why not just call the cops now? This whole movie would have ended if you called the cops then. There's a few points later on when she's got him on the phone where she could have put him in a trap or something like that. But at the same time, you could argue the whole stress of the situation, the stress of her life, and everything that's happening, It's not until she finally snaps that she starts thinking a little bit more clearly. And it's the fact that this is just such a repeated plot and these uncreative moments where it feels like you could end it in 5 minutes that kind of drag this movie down. With that said, this movie is still amazing. It gives us a Russell Crowe performance that is top notch. All of the actors inside of this are giving their all, even if they can't match his intensity, and the movie is elevated for it. It's intense, it's scary, and it's almost a white knuckle experience from pretty much 20 minutes in till the end. I personally highly recommend this movie, and my rating for it is see it in theaters. And yes, that's actually a see it in theaters. You will not be disappointed with the money that you spend on this film. It's not a must-see because, again, it is tropey, but given how few things are out right now, I don't see why you wouldn't want to just, at the very least, rent this on VOD. And that's it for me. Did you see Unhinged? If you have, seriously, go watch it on VOD. Even if you don't want to go to the theaters, just do it. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And as always, if you like what you saw, hit the like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, that helps this channel grow. If you want to see more from me, I do stream every Thursday on this channel. Since school started, I'll have to push it back to about 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. is the starting time again. However, it will be happening every Thursday, so come check that out. And yeah, that's it for me, so I guess I'll see you guys next time. And it's good to be back actually reviewing movies again.